It's time again for the Insiders with Chuck Chvala and Scott Jensen, sponsored by the Wisconsin Counties Association and the Tommy G. Thompson Center on Public Leadership.
Hi, I'm Scott Jensen, former Assembly Speaker.
And I'm Chuck Chvala, former Senate Majority Leader.
And we're the Insiders, and it's time for the Insiders to take a look back at 2025 and talk about who the winners and losers were for this year that's about to end. So, Chuck, who do you think the winners were in 2025?
Well, making this a very political thing, the biggest winners are obviously the candidates for governor on the Democratic and Republican side, because Governor Evers decided not to run for reelection, which would have, I think, tamped down that field quite a bit. And so now we have a very wide open field on the Democratic side and a number of people on the Republican side. There's certainly some winners in this. Who else is a winner? Well, I would say Democrats in the legislature are winners. You know why? Donald Trump broke it. He broke the Republican Party. They are so down in the polling at what looked like a situation where the Dems would probably win the Senate in the state of Wisconsin. But it was, an open question in the assembly. Now looks like, boy, unless they are able to perform, or unless something changes pretty dramatically, the Democrats in the assembly and Greta Neubauer look like they are poised to win the majority in the assembly. So that would mean a Democratic trifecta, assuming that Democrats are able to win the governorship. But again, Trump broke it. So I think at the end of the day, there's a huge win for anybody wanting to run for governor in the state of Wisconsin. And there's a big win for Democrats in the state legislature.
I think the winners in Wisconsin's politics the last year were the liberal majority on the Wisconsin Supreme Court, which solidified itself in the April elections. And I would also say that Tony Evers is a winner this year. The Supreme Court gave him more power in multiple decisions during the course of the year. He achieved a bipartisan budget, and now he has that glow that comes from that politicians get when they announce they're retiring and riding off into the sunset. So I think Tony Evers is clearly a winner in 2025. So Chuck, who do you think the losers are in 2025?
Well, first of all, I agree with Scott that Tony Evers is a winner from 2025, but we're talking more in terms of who is in the ascendancy in terms of winners, and I think that's going well for Democrats, but for anybody who wants to run for governor. But Tony Evers certainly is a winner from last year. The other thing I would say is that in terms of the losers here, it clearly to me it's the precursor to major losses for the Republicans. They have had basically full control of the legislative process in Wisconsin since the 2010 election. And what that's meant, because they've just been able to stop anything that Democrats want to do. And remember, there's a difference between progressives holding and conservatives holding. Generally, people are conservative and the conservatives hold. Progressives want to do things. So the status quo isn't what Democrats or progressives generally want to do. And what's happened here now is that going forward, it looks like that hold is going to be broken. There will be a flood of progressive litigation. And that means that Democrats, and I believe the people of the state, will find that there will be some great things that will happen. For example, marijuana will be legalized in the state of Wisconsin a little bit more than a year from now. That's going to happen. Probably even recreational marijuana. Definitely in Wisconsin, women will have protection for the first year after childbirth to be able to receive health care. And that is not happening because of essentially the Speaker of the Assembly, who's a Republican. So there will be real consequences. So I think that at the end of the day, people here who will be losing, I think, are Republicans up and down. The congressional Republicans may be losers in this, now seeing what the Wisconsin Supreme Court is doing with redistricting. But those are going to be the losers by and large that are going to not reap the benefit of having their situation continued. And that's really going to change a whole host of things that have been held back. Public education will get better funding. The University of Wisconsin will be better funded. K-12 education will be better funded. Special education will be better funded. But that is a loss because Republicans have held up against it.
Sadly, I would argue that the losers of 2025 were the school children of Wisconsin. Jill Underly was reelected as superintendent. Her efforts to lower the cut scores on tests then resulted in lowering the standards for the grade report cards that go out for schools. There are schools in Wisconsin that don't have a single child who can read or do math at grade level, who are considered to be A-OK under Jill Underly's system. In the meantime, the test scores for children in this state taking federal tests, national exams, continue to fall. And amidst all of this, we have 200 teachers who appear to have been grooming students who were then allowed to step aside, in some cases even keep their teacher's license. I mean, this has just been a horrible year for public education in Wisconsin and for the children of this state. And I'm hoping 2026 will be a better year for them.
I would agree with Scott on that last point, but I would say what will benefit children more rather than worrying about how we measure is that teachers in Wisconsin who used to be top 10 in the country getting paid and doing a great job and who have now fallen below the average in the country will finally get the pay raise they deserve, and our children will get the education they need, and our grandchildren. And that's where we should be going. And I'm excited for the fact that after Democrats get control of the legislature, they'll be able to deliver for the kids in public schools across the state of Wisconsin, and they need it. Scott is right about that. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to The Insider with Chuck Chvala and Scott Jensen, sponsored by the Wisconsin Counties Association and the Tommy G. Thompson Center on Public Leadership.